Kendall Jenner, the most natural, humble member of the Kardashian Jenner clan. Kendall Jenner is generally regarded as the most natural sister in this famous family, unlike the rest of her sisters who have had crazy dramatic transformations over the years. I mean, Khloe and Kylie barely even look like the same people anymore. Kendall, for the most part, seemed to slip under the radar and keep her natural looks. Until now. So there I was, minding my own business, trolling through Google, researching for another video when a picture of Kendall Jenner that was recently taken popped up, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It almost didn't even look like Kendall. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fool. I don't believe that Kendall was ever really 100% natural. I mean, let's not forget what family she is a part of. And when you compare pictures of Kendall in her early teens to her late teens, let alone early 20s, she does look extremely different. Was her glow up as dramatic as her sister Kylie's? No. But does that mean that she hadn't had anything done? No. Being a part of the Kardashian Jenner family, I would say that the pressure on Kendall is huge.
Oh my god, I get to go with Kendall Jenner to the Vanity Fair party.
This family is all about looking perfect and altering your face and body to fit the current trend and monetizing your appearance. But I never thought that Kendall, out of all of them, would go this far. So this was Kendall naturally as a teen, and this was Kendall post glow up. What the happened to Kendall's face? It seems to me as though Kendall held out for as long as she could and has now fallen victim to the pressure of social media and fame and has began altering her naturally good looks. And it's sad. So let's take a closer look at what the heck has happened to Kendall in the past year, because this glow up, if you want to call it that, is a recent thing. So in our last video where we discussed the potential tweakments that the most natural Kardashian Jenner sister has had, we decided that she likely has had her nose refined, aka a surgical nose job, because as you guys can see, the nose Kendall has now is vastly slimmer than the nose that she was born with. And of course, that might be down to her growing up and losing weight. However, in the case of Kendall, I doubt that, because Kendall was always super slim, even when she was a child and young teen. So I would consider it more likely that she has, in fact, undergone a subtle nose refinement to thin out the bulbous tip. I think it's quite obvious that she's also likely had a brow lift to lift her brows. I mean, she used to have quite a heavy brow, which it seems she may have inherited from her maternal grandmother, Mary Jo, who is Kris Jenner's mum. And that's kind of how genetics work. As you guys can see in original Kendall photos, her brows sat pretty low over her eyes, giving her eyes a more hooded look. However, a few short years later, in her early 20s, this heavy brow and heavy lidded look was totally gone, and her brows now point up at the outer corners, and her hooded lids are now also open and totally spacious. Again, losing weight in the face and body can have this effect naturally, but again with Kendall, she didn't lose weight. She was always tall and slim. She also appeared to have began injecting her lips with filler to even out her top and bottom lip. She always had a pretty pouty bottom lip, but her top lip, especially when she smiled, curled up and under, and that unfortunately does not fit the beauty standard today. And as we know, Kardashian Jenners must always fit the beauty standard despite what they may look like naturally. So to achieve a bigger top lip, you can have a lip lift, which is where a surgeon will put a cut between your nose and your lip and literally pull your lip up, then sew you back up. Or you can get lip filler. At the time, I thought that Kendall had most likely had lip fillers, but now I think she's done more. So here is post glow up Kendall in 2020, and here is current Kendall barely 2 years later. In my humble, non-expert opinion, because I think the majority of you guys are well aware of the fact that I am not a cosmetic surgeon, I believe that Kendall may have finally opted to just go ahead and get the lip lift and be done with it. Filler is great and all, but the problem is if you get too much of it, it can puff your lips outward like a duck bill instead of upwards. Her sister Kylie's lips would be a good example of what can happen if you have too much filler. I think with Kendall being a professional model who takes her job really seriously, she didn't want to risk her lips looking overfilled, and so for a while resorted to seriously overlining her lips, which the internet of course thought was hilarious, and poor Kendall was roasted on Twitter, to eventually deciding to just go ahead and get her top lip lifted. If you compare these two photos of Kendall's natural top lip to the size of Kendall's top lip now, and yes, I know she's wearing a lot of lip liner in this current picture, but you can clearly see where her actual lip ends and the liner keeps going. Her top lip now is simply just much bigger in size, and yet it doesn't have that telltale overly filled lip look. To me, it looks like a really well done lip lift. Now you guys, I could be totally wrong here, but to me, looking at these recent pictures of Kendall, I really think that she may have undergone another nose job in order to lift the tip of her nose. So like the bridge of her nose doesn't really look any different, but the tip, especially from side on, looks very similar to her sister Chloe's nose, which as we now know, Chloe has also recently undergone a nose job. And when you compare the two of them originally compared to the two of them now, the noses never looked alike before, and now they do. Then we have Kendall's face shape, most notably her cheeks. This is what I think has made the biggest difference to the way that Kendall's face currently looks. To me, it looks as though Kendall has gone to town on cheek filler, or even more dramatically, potentially had cheek implants, which is actually not that unusual in Kendall's world. I can see why she would do it, to be honest, because she's 26, and in her world, approaching 30 is considered aging, and in Kendall's world of aesthetics and beauty and maintaining your youth for as long as humanly possible, a fuller face, in particular high full cheekbones, gives the illusion of a youthful look. So I could see why Kendall may opt to have had that done. Not to mention the fact that Kendall is very tall and slim naturally and obviously maintains it for her job as a model, and that's fine. However, being that thin can make your face look a little gaunt, which is not a look that the Kardashian Jenner tribe subscribes to. So it would make sense that at this point in her life and career, Kendall might have made the decision to get her cheeks filled. And it's not that it looks bad, I actually think she looks lovely, but I thought she always looked lovely. And it has really changed the way her whole face looks. And in my opinion, instead of making her look more youthful, which is kind of the goal of cheek filler, I dare say that what seems to be a large amount of filler in her cheeks has actually made her look older than 26, because the heaviness in her cheeks is having the knock-on effect of dragging down her lower eyelids. Finally, in my humble opinion, and feel free to totally disagree with me guys, let me know what you think in the comments, I think that Kendall may have just gone overboard on Botox, which is not a big deal. Botox is not permanent and only really lasts a few months, but I do think it's sad when 26-year-olds are getting Botox, because 26 is so young in the grand scheme of things. I remember I made a YouTube video when I was 27, and in the video I was like, I'm 27, I'm getting old, it's about time I get Botox. And I look back at that video now and I'm like, girl, what were you thinking? You were 27, why on earth did you think you needed to get Botox? I know people get Botox as like a preventative measure to avoid getting wrinkles in the first place, and it does seem to work. But then that begs the question, why are we so scared of aging anyway? My attitude now towards Botox and aging and wrinkles has totally changed, and I'm 34 now. And now I would never get Botox, whereas when I was younger, I was like, hell yeah, give me all the Botox. Anyway, back to Kendall's Botox. It seems to me that she has had Botox injected into her outer brow and eye area, which is supposed to lift the outer brow. And I know because I did it. It didn't work for me, but then again, I've got totally different bone structure to Kendall. But in Kendall's case currently, I feel like the Botox may have just been a little bit overboard, because I think it's accidentally made her look a little bit angry. Like when you look at paparazzi pictures now of Kendall where she's just minding her own business, walking down the street, she looks a little bit annoyed. I also think that Kendall may have begun to get tweakments to her body as well, which is not what this video is about, but do let me know if you guys want a video on Kendall's body tweakments. Let me know in the comments. But just looking at these pictures, it's obvious that her chest coconuts have grown massively, which is weird considering that she hasn't grown anywhere else in her body, like she's not put weight on or anything like that. Personally, I feel a little bit sad for Kendall because I feel like being a sister in one of the most famous families in the world, a family that is so image obsessed and so obsessed with looking perfect and maintaining this beauty standard, I feel like it's finally getting to her. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I love your guts, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.